This kid's fire.
What's that? What's that, brother? What's that? What's that, brother? Brother, what's that, brother? What's that? What's that, brother? Brother, what's that? What's that, brother? What's that? What's that, brother? Brother, what's that, brother? What's that? What's that, brother?
Yes, guys, welcome back to another stream, and today we got a transfer special, got a cracked panel for you as well, guys. We're just speaking about incomings, outgoings, load of rumours that are flying around social media right now. We get the lads' opinions, want your opinions as well, so make sure you're firing in your comments in the live chat. Make sure you guys smash a like on the stream, make sure you are subscribed to the channel as well. Hopefully you guys are all doing well. I got Luke, Martin, Hugh and Tone to join with me. Listen, we've got 55 minutes, so I'm going to get straight into it, man. I want to talk about Grealish. There's a lot of talk at the moment about Jack Grealish potentially with an exit of Manchester City. It's only speculation at the moment. It's more of a conversation that I want to have with you guys. Being linked heavily at the moment with Chelsea. Does anyone see, Martin, let me come to you straight away on this one. Any truth you see in this at all? You see any reason why City would cash in? What sort of fee you think we would need if he is to leave? Like, what's your thoughts, man?
There's interest from Chelsea, is what I was told, but it would depend on a number of other. There's other players to leave before Jack, is what I was told. And the other thing issue I've got is you've got the homegrown issue. If you're going to lose Calvin Phillips, there's rumours of Walker. Are you going to allow 3 homegrown players out the door? When we're already low in them numbers anyway. I just don't see it. I don't see it. But again, there's a lot of things can change on a sixpence. This is the problem with transfers. What happens right now may not be the case in 7 days' time. Tone knows that it changes on a whim, and lists change and everything changes. So, but I just don't see it. I don't see it for a number of reasons.
I can't see Pep allowing Grealish to leave. I think Pep has made Grealish like the embodiment of the kind of footballer that he wants right now, isn't he? Like the whole style of play that we use in control and rhythm, and the way we do everything. Jack Grealish was handcrafted for that. He was a very different player at Aston Villa. He came to Man City. Pep molded him into what he is right now, and he's a crucial part. It's kind of as simple as if Jack Grealish is fit, Jack Grealish plays, even though he struggled a bit at times this season. I'd be really surprised if Pep Guardiola was willing to part ways with Grealish. I don't know what the situation is in Martin with homegrown and that. Is there? I don't understand. Are we up to some quota, or are we close to?
You've got to have 8 in your 25 months. You're only allowed 7. Now, obviously, that may change as we're going down the road, but I mean, 8 of those, one of them's Calvin Phillips, Kyle Walker, John Stones, Jack Grealish. But we're not high. I think we've got on the official Premier League list, we've got 7. I mean, you can include your Rico Lewis's and all them, but because of their ages, they're not actually included in the 25-man squad. You don't have to include them because of their ages. You don't have to have 8. You can have 4 if you wanted, but then you can only register a lower number of squad players, for example. It's a strange one. It's just, I just don't see it because of that. And because, like I said, we've got 7 homegrown. I was looking earlier. We've got, just to clarify it all up, we've got Ake's homegrown, Carson's homegrown, Foden, Grealish, Calvin Phillips, Stones, and Walker. Classed as your homegrown in your 25-man. And
it's interesting, isn't it? I find it interesting because obviously he's not had a great season, right? I think we can all agree on that. But like, I think this year, despite having a worse season than last year, I think more people are seeing the value of Jack Grealish in the City team, which is kind of weird considering he's having because how many times this year have we been like, oh, we missed Grealish or we needed to have Grealish in that big game, especially when we went through that period, when we didn't win a game in 4 or 5 matches when we kept on drawing. And everyone was like, damn, we missed Grealish. So he's not had a good year. But I feel like his importance to the team and to City fans has actually increased this year, which is kind of backwards, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I was going to say, it doesn't surprise me if Chelsea are interested because it is the sort of player they'd go for, a sort of a bit of a star player, all these sponsorship deals and all this sort of thing. And it wouldn't surprise me if Chelsea's interest is legit. But last I heard, there was absolutely no-go Grealish and was laughed off that he was even going to leave this summer. So I'd be amazed if City sold him, partly for the reasons Hugh said. Pep clearly likes him. He plays the right way. We're better with him. He's not had a great season, but like you just said, when he's not played, it's noticeable. And when he steps in, 3 or 4 of the best periods of play in games, it's been when Jack Grealish is on the pitch. So I would be absolutely staggered if he left. I just don't see it at all.
I think the price tag. Go on, sorry.
Oh, no, sorry, go on, Lee. Go on. So you're going to say?
I think the price tag comes into it as well, what we paid. I think also as well, do we recoup anywhere near that?
He's contracted till 2027 right now, and he's on 300 grand per week.
So, yeah.
Apparently he's on 300 grand now, which was more than what we originally thought. This is all speculation. Like, we're never going to know exactly what any player is on, but I mean, Chelsea are under increasing conversation, aren't they? And speculation of their own financial issues and their own, charges alleged potentially moving forward. Do they want to start bringing on this amount of wages?
They'll just keep selling hotels, won't they? That's all they'll keep doing.
Mate, I don't know what they're up to with Chelsea, but LB, because you've known me since Grealish has been at the club, that I'm a massive fan of Jack Grealish, and I was always a massive advocate for Jack Grealish. And I think this season we realised that it was a case of when he wasn't playing, we realised how important he actually was. You know what I'm saying? Like, our whole game is based on control, based on tempo, based on rhythm, and it's meticulous. And even though Jack Grealish doesn't get the G&A, he gets all of that, absolutely all of that, which is why Pep Guardiola loves having Jack Grealish on the pitch, because it's all about rhythm and flow. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Jack Grealish brings. You see why Haaland likes to play with Jack Grealish. You see why Bruyne likes to play with Jack Grealish, because there's a really, really good understanding. I really struggled to see a world where City let Jack Grealish go over an issue to do with homegrown. I think City would maneuver it somehow. I don't know what way you can do it. I'm open to having a conversation about this, whether it's promoting someone into the 25-man squad that counts as homegrown or getting rid of whatever. I think Jack Grealish is he's too much of an important cog in our machine to allow to leave under those circumstances.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that. I'm just saying homegrown is part of the factor because of
no, I get that, but I think if that's the reasoning, City will maneuver something. They'll do something, whether it's get rid of someone, bring in someone. I don't know what needs to be done. I'm not really an expert in that sort of thing, but I think Jack Grealish wouldn't be allowed to leave under those circumstances.
I never buy into this G&A argument. It baffles me, this G&A argument, because none of our wingers go in G&A.
Yeah, but this is Hugh's fault for calling him Jackie G&A, man.
I don't
Yeah, but listen, I've only called him Jackie G&A on occasions where he got a G and an A in a game. Remember me and you did a watch along for Liverpool about a year or two ago, LB. You got a G and an A. Jackie G&A. Allow
I
him,
call
man.
it him all the time, man. Suck your man.
Bernardo Silva plays on the right wing and doesn't get assists and goals. Doku's not been prolific, still his first season. I just, it baffles me, this GA from.
At the end of the day, when you have a striker up top like Haaland, no one else needs goals.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. If you're using your elite number
and De
9
Bruyne
properly,
behind him with Foden, then there's your assists. Do you know what I mean?
But it's weird. You can always tell the ones who perhaps don't watch full games are the ones, and that's a lot of people, by the way, because a lot of people I know say Grealish is crap, isn't he? City are really good, but Grealish isn't very good. And I'm always saying, honestly, he's one of our key players. Make no mistake, he's one of the key players in that 11. Yeah.
You can always differentiate between people who watch Manchester City and don't watch Manchester City. You know what I'm saying? Or who watch Manchester City, or who don't watch Manchester City but watch stats on their phones. You know what I'm saying? Look at numbers on their phones and they make their judgments based off numbers they see in their phones. You can't have it both ways. You can't demand.
They just look at like this football Twitter constantly.
Exactly. Form your opinions off Twitter. Form your opinions off. Yeah, man. Like you can't have it both ways. You can't demand a winger to be really flary, score loads of goals, create loads of assists, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
When Pep wants it to be meticulous, he wants it to be calculated. He wants everybody to have a really unique, specific role in the squad. Like, how can you justify and explain Jack Grealish not getting a huge amount of goals and assists last season, but he's an important member of a treble-winning 11, not 23-man squad, 11. Why is he still playing week in, week out? Because Pep obviously, really prioritizes the role that Jack Grealish plays. So.
But it's amazing because it's like I think some fans are holding on to this Leroy Sané Sterling. Yeah. And it's like, we want that back. And I get it. But Pep doesn't. Pep wants a winger. I know he says, I want more out of Grealish. He came out last week and said, Doku needs to do a lot more as well. He says that about every single one of his wingers or his wide men.
Yeah. I think it's transition in periods as well. Like we've had Sterling and Sané where they, like you said there, Martin, that obviously people look back to that, but then we've had this transition where now we've had wingers who have had control, like in the likes of Bernardo and Grealish. And now we've kind of got a mix with Doku as like kind of your Sterling and Sané to go at players. And then you've got Grealish who's the kind of more controlled and developed player.
And the first man on Pep's team sheet, I think, wide man, is Grealish. He's the first one, the very first one in the team. And like you said, we are the best team in the world at the moment officially. There is a bloody reason why he is always playing, and big game Grealish plays. It's as simple as that. I don't understand the criticism he gets.
See, Pep's always changing his own way of playing, isn't he? You know what I'm saying? Like every season, you see a slightly different evolution of Pep Guardiola football, and the way he does it, everyone's always like, "Oh, you can't win that way. You can't win without a striker, can you, lads? You can't win without a number 9. Yeah, we did it twice. We won 2 leagues without number 9. Yeah. You can't bring centre half into midfield. You can't bring fullbacks inverted. You can't do all this stuff." But Pep keeps doing it, and people are like, wingers must score, right? Wingers must get loads of G&A, right? No, you can win trebles with wingers who don't bag loads of goals, quite clearly, because Pep Guardiola is proving it. We do everything differently. We do everything 2, 3, 4 steps ahead. And it's no surprise that everyone wants to be like us. You're seeing teams in the lower leagues, at the bottom of the Premier League, leagues all around Europe, trying to play like Manchester City. You're seeing Burnley step centre halves and full backs into midfield. You're seeing like everything we do, everyone else wants to do. So people knock it until they try it, man.
It's also when you look at like, go on, Tom.
I was just going to say on and off the pitch as well, Hugh. It's not just on the pitch they're copying our group, they're copying the way we're set up, they're taking our bloody staff. Sorry, you go, Luke.
No, I was just going to say, obviously, going back to this goals and assists thing, I think a lot of people online look at the likes of Liverpool and Arsenal where they're relying on the likes of Saka, Salah, Mane back in the day, and then saying, "Oh, our wingers should be doing that as well." It's 2 completely different teams.
Yeah.
So
let me come to some of these chats, man, and then I've got a couple questions about you before we move on to another player. Big up Dazman says, whether Grealish leaves or not, the squad itself needs a refreshment. Pep needs players with hunger, as I feel there's a lack of motivation. It will be interesting to see who we sign. Yeah, I agree. I actually do agree. I think the squad needs a little bit of a refreshment. I definitely agree with that one. Big up to LB says Danny Olmo is basically done for 60 million. Where did you hear that from? You didn't rob it from Craig, did you, LB? Big up for the donation. I was going to put this up on screen, Mad Hatter, but then Tone sort of addressed it anyway. Big up to professional Unai Emery. Good evening to you, bro. Says Grealish is great, but I don't think we are using him to his full potential. Although he's good for his role, but he's a midfielder when he was at Aston Villa. Well, the thing is, right, it was there's also like a bit of a myth going around that like he got all these goals and assists at Aston Villa. He didn't actually. If you actually look at the stats, he didn't. He also had a free role. I don't know if any of you guys caught the interview, the podcast that he done with City's official podcast. But he said basically, sounded like a right shit show. He said Dean Smith, who was the manager at the time, basically used to tell Jack Grealish, yeah, just go anywhere on the pitch. Just go anywhere you. Obviously, that's not going to happen. So he's obviously more limited in what he can do. But I genuinely think that Grealish would massively benefit from an overlapping fullback like Sami Nasri. Remember Sami Nasri used to play on that left-hand side? He used to have Kolarov just bombing down past him, and he either used to play it to Kolarov, who could whip across in, or he could invert and then drive in for you. I think, obviously, we don't have the left-backs at the football club. Now, we'll probably speak about that as we go through the show, but that is something that I think would benefit him. Big up to Make or Break with a chat says, for me, Oscar Bob is pretty much able to control like Grealish, but offers more in dribbling and off-the-ball movement and even in front of goal. That's not an unfair comment, and I do think that next season when Oscar Bob is played more, the pressure might ramp up on Grealish because I don't think that's an unfair comment. Any of you guys think that's unfair?
I wouldn't start Bob in front of Grealish right now. It may be in future. I think he's got more to prove to be that.
But he has got more to prove, 100%. That's what I'm saying. But like in terms of just like the actual,
I think it's still raw talent, isn't it?
Yeah,
Grealish is kind of defined himself now.
He does. That's why I think next year's a big year for Oscar Bob, 100%.
Yeah.
You got to remember that like Grealish has only played 991 minutes this year.
Yeah.
He's been injured a lot. He's had a lot of off-field issues. He's not.
Yeah.
That's why I don't mind he's had a poor season. He's been injured. It's not like he's been dropped.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think both can be true though. I think he's had a poor season despite the off-field issues. But maybe if he didn't have the off-field issues and the injuries, then maybe he could have been better. But I still think he's not been at the levels that he was last year. Although since his last injury, Martin, I think he's been good since his last injury. Come back since his last injury.
We play better football with him in the team.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree.
I think he's got a really good relationship brewing with Joska Vardiol. I think Vardiol is starting to, or he's shown that he can do what you're kind of talking about, overlapping or even cutting in as well. They seem to be forming a really good positional understanding. They seem to get each other quite well, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that one, grows and develops because Vardiol is very exciting as well.
It is. Yeah, the problem is that he doesn't bomb really down and get crosses in. He sort of stops, and I really think that Grealish would. I agree with the point he made here, but I just think he would benefit from a left-footed wing back who actually can put crosses in. I just reminds me a bit of Sami Nasri, the position that he used to play. Built to Dr. Footy says, sell Grealish. I'll relegate this club myself, says Dr. Footy. Okay. Big up Daz again with another one. Says, we were really blessed with Mahrez because he had G&A as well as contributing. Without G&A, it depends how Pep wants it. If you want another Mahrez, you look at Elise, for example. If you want direct, you look at someone like Neto. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure on Elise. I've still not made my mind up whether like what I'm feeling, but Neto for me just looks like he just looks like a Liverpool player through and through. Just
injury prone, isn't he? Though
I asked him today and got told Elise is not. Elise is no.
That's a United signing all over that.
Because here's another thing that I wanted to ask you guys. Yeah, I'll come to some of the other chats in a few moments, guys. The reason I don't think this is going to happen, personally, is Bernardo Silva's probably going to leave this summer. 50 million release clause. Like, surely someone's activating that in Europe, right? If he leaves, what wingers do we actually have at the football club, guys? You have Doku, who still we don't know if he's going to be good enough. Like, we're still in the sort of development phase. Like, we're still waiting to see if he can provide it consistently because of his age and he's still new to the league. Grealish, who we might sell if we go off this that we're selling. So Grealish goes and Bernardo goes. What, you got Doku and Bob? I'm not being funny, but like, what are we doing here? Maybe we are getting relegated to the Championship if we go with that. I don't know, man. I just think that there's no way you can lose Bernardo and Grealish in the same transfer window unless Kylian Mbappe season. Who knows?
No.
Or Vinny Junior season. I don't know.
What are you doing here, Albie? He's playing FIFA. He's off.
No, I'm just saying, you can't lose Bernardo Silva and Jack Grealish in the same transfer window and leave yourself with just Doku and Bob. And I know people will say, well, we've got Savio coming. That's fair. But again, we don't even know if he's going to stay. I don't know. Does anyone on this panel think that there's a chance? And I'll come to the poll in a second. There's a poll in the chat. Anyone on this panel think that this is something that could actually happen?
Nah. Well, both go?
Grealish.
No.
100%. I think he stays.
No,
not. I think it would have to be extreme circumstances.
And how much would the fee? You mentioned the fee before, Luke. How much would we be wanting?
That's what I mean. I think it would have to be an extraordinary fee close to that 100 million we paid.
I know Craig put in the chat earlier, it'd be 75 minimum to even have the conversation going.
Yeah, but it would have to involve Grealish asking to move. There's no way City would. If Grealish went to Pep and said, look, I want to go and live in London or whatever, for whatever example, then there's a possibility. But Grealish seems happy. There's no talks of him wanting out or anything. I just don't see it. There'll be more and more talk about it because he's a popular player and Chelsea will throw the word out as well.
So I'll come to it in a minute because I was going to talk about this 3-5. So if we go down that road, do we need out-and-out wingers?
Okay, we'll come to that in a second. Then let me just finish off these chats and then we'll move it on from the Grealish conversation. Let me have a look at the poll first. I put a poll in the chat saying, would you be open to selling Grealish? That's it. Just would you be open to the idea of it? Not mentioning a fee. Not mentioning anything like that. Would you be open to it? 68% of you guys in the chat are saying no, you wouldn't be open to it at all. So that means regardless of the fee, I suppose. 33% of you guys, 32% say you would be open to it. So I'll keep the poll running anyway because I think it's quite interesting. But majority of people on watching and us as well, we don't really want to lose Jack Grealish. Big up to Ryan says Jack's also key to team morale. Erling's best mate says Ryan. Big up Ryan. Sinathan says, evening, guys. Watch this news. He sent that in a few moments ago. Hopefully, you've got the gist of it, bro. Just a couple of rumours going around that Grealish might be leaving. How true it is, we don't know. Albie says, to be fair, Grealish gets really unlucky in front of goal every time it's it. This is the thing, though. I disagree with that, Albie. I don't think that's unlucky. This is
Real Madrid chance if he shoots first time.
Yeah, I agree, Luke. I disagree with you on that one, pal. You know what I mean? Respect the dono and that, but I don't think it's unlucky. I think if you're getting block shots every time you shoot, there's something not right. And like Luke said, that chance he had against Real Madrid, he needs to whip that in the bottom corner first time. He takes a touch. For me, this is what I said recently. I said he needs to speed it up. He's shooting. He takes too long, bro. So yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's unlucky. And the final one says, Elise is going to be a top player only this season because he's been injured last year. He played 37 games in the league. He's been one of our best wingers, says one. So obviously a Palace player, a Palace fan there. Okay, we'll keep our eye on him then. I know some City fans do want him.
Right, I think it's just the United transfer all over that, though.
Yeah, it does look like it, innit? It does look like it to me. But they'll probably have to get rid of Anthony first. Right, Martin, you wanted to speak about the 3-5-2 situation. Do we need wingers? Go on, talk us through this, man, because that sounded pretty interesting.
No, that's why I don't think we're going to buy this glut of wingers, because there'll be times when we don't play wingers. You'll have your overlapping fullbacks. So you go back to the Brighton game, you had Walker and Gavardio. It'd become your wide men and just go. And then you have your 3 straight centre-backs. There'll be times when you can do that, but you can play wingers, and I think that's where Grealish falls in, because Grealish can do the moving forward, the coming back. And I think if we can get Doku, I think Doku's got it going forward. He just needs to be a little bit more coming back, but he's a young lad. First season, he'll learn all that as he's going along. No issue at all. I think Doku, but I just, to me, if we do go down this 3-5-2 against low block teams, especially, why would you need a Sane or who else was there we've been linked with or people want? Who's the guy at AC Milan? What's he called again?
Liao, like Liao. Yeah.
Liao, or someone like Liao, would that work in that formation? And no fans want this exciting, fluid, let's go football. I get it. But it's what Pep wants. It's what Pep wants. And that's why I just don't think we're ever going to do that. I don't think we'll ever go back to the days of Leroy and Sterling. Sadly, because it is exciting. But this 3-5-2 seems to be a way, what I've been told anyway, is something we may use quite a lot next season.
So can I just ask a quick question on that? Can I ask a quick question on that? 3-5-2, is that with Alvarez and Haaland in the same team then? As strikers, not playing weird left wing, right wing, midfield?
Possibly, or you could move, because it's going to be your 2 10s and someone moves forward, like your KDB or your Foden rotates into that role as well.
Because I don't know if you guys remember, I say this quite a lot. I don't know if you guys remember this, but remember when we had Jesus and Aguero and we had Benjamin Mendy? We actually played like that sort of system with 2 strikers and flying fullbacks. And actually, the football was mega. But then Ben Mendy got injured and we never seen it again, basically. But like we played it for like 3 or 4 games at the start of the season. I remember one game that we played against Bournemouth away, and it was unreal. We was bombing down the wings, overlapping fullbacks, crossing it in. You had players we had fullbacks who could actually cross the ball, which was amazing. And you had 2 strikers in the penalty area, which is actually quite funny, really, because that solves a couple of issues, Martin. One, I've said for a long time, if you don't start playing Alvarez as a striker, he will eventually leave because there'll be someone in Europe who comes and says, come to our club, we'll play as a striker. They're a big team. And 2, it gets more players in the box. When you're playing against low blocks, sometimes we play against a low block and Haaland will just be stood there in the box on his own against like 3 defenders. It gets an extra body in there. So it would be interesting to see if we go down that route. And, you know, RR in the chat says, what about Frimpong? He's obviously another player that's been linked with us. And, you know, been linked with Miguel Gutierrez, who everyone knows I absolutely love at Girona. Jan Couto is our actual player. We own him. He's on loan at Girona, slamming it. 9 assists already this season for a right back. So I don't know. Do you see any movement, any big shift in how you think Pep might set the team up next year, bro?
It's so hard to judge. It's so hard to tell because with every single season that comes along, he does something new, doesn't he? He does something different. So it's really hard to tell. I mean, I've seen the names that we're kind of linked to. I think the one that I'm probably most against is Frimpong. I like Frimpong, and I think he's a good player. I've watched him a lot at City's academy level. I've watched him at Celtic. I've watched him a bit at Leverkusen this year. But I think that's a massive kick in the teeth to Rico Lewis. I think we have the talent under our nose. I think we have a very similar player and with a higher ceiling under our nose than Rico Lewis. Formation-wise, I genuinely have no idea. I mean, I was looking at that Brighton game last Thursday, and I was like, I actually don't know what way we're playing right now. We seem to have 4 number 10s knocking around at some point. We have Bernardo in left-sided centre half at one point. Like, I can't make it out, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know what I'm talking about. I don't know what's going on, so no, we'll wait and see, man. I genuinely don't know. I get the point you're making. There's different styles of football, it's different preferences, isn't it? Like some people like that bombing full back, like Mendy-esque, who Haaland would probably would appreciate a player like that who's just going to give him accurate service consistently. You know what you're getting, but Pep's not big in it, is he? Particularly from the left-hand side. The majority of our crosses seem to come from the right-hand side, doesn't it? It's Kyle Walker gets forward and he'll lump in a load of crosses, but I don't know, man. I'd love to know what others think.
I don't see the wing back flying, putting crosses in, because you tend to lose the ball and that's where you get countered. So I don't see this thing of get the wing back forward and cross it in and all that. It's a Guardiola's the future of left. Give them the ball, get forward, control the play around the box, look for the gaps, wait for teams to switch off. That's the way I think City are playing now and probably going to in future. Guardiola, I don't actually think they'll get a left back. It certainly won't be a priority signing because I think Pep likes Guardiola and Ake there. I don't really see the need.
Okay. Well, let's keep it moving, man, because we've only got 20 odd minutes left before we do the watch along. Big up to Simon with the bomber super chat. Big up to you, bro. But he was invited, by the way, chat. He was invited. Yeah. He declined the invitation. So big up to Simon. Hopefully you're doing well, bro. Right, I want to speak about the DM situation, and I will bring up the Tommy tweet as part of this. And big up Craig, as always, for putting all the information in the chat, giving us guys updates. We're going to come on to the PAQUETA and Danny Olmo situation in a minute, which obviously Craig has given us quite a bit of information on that. But yeah, midfielder KIMMICH. I don't know if you guys seen KIMMICH was speaking the other day about his contract situation, and he actually mentioned Pep Guardiola and said Pep Guardiola obviously is a key part of his development, and that was quite interesting given the fact that we have been linked with him as well. But we've also been linked heavily with Bruno at Newcastle, who of course has a release clause of around about 100 million quid, as we understand. And Tommy tweeted this out earlier on. He says, as of now, Pep prefers to sign Bruno Guimaraes and PAQUETA. He loves both and feels their Premier League experience and age profiles are exactly what his team needs, and both are desperate to come, apparently. Now, this is kind of interesting, really, isn't it? Because Lucas PAQUETA clearly was going to be a Manchester City player last summer, but it obviously broke down because of the charges. PAQUETA came out the other day and came out and said, well, you know, that was in the past and he loves West Ham, but he kind of had to say that. Bruno has a release clause, and something's defo going on with Bruno, mate, because somehow, Fabrizio Romano's now getting all this information about the release clause, and for those that don't fully know how it works, someone in the PAQUETA camp is leaking this information to Fabrizio and to other journalists to get it out there. That's how this sort of stuff works. So, how are we feeling about these two players? Luke, let me come to you on this one, bro. Bruno, PAQUETA are apparently the main. Does it surprise you that KIMMICH isn't the preference, given that he's worked with him before? Or do you just think maybe Pep sees Bruno as a better player, slightly younger? Or why do you think Pep apparently prefers Bruno over KIMMICH?
I think the big thing that Tommy's put in that tweet there is the Premier League experience. Obviously, it's a completely different league to the Bundesliga. The pace, the physicality involved, that's a big key aspect, I think, that's needed. And I think Pep kind of has a tendency, doesn't he, not to re-sign players very often. I think from what I've seen and remember, he tends not to kind of go back to all the clubs to sign players. So I think there's a kind of reluctance there to do so again. For me, KIMMICH would be the dream because he can kind of fit in that CDM role and right back if needed. And he has the footballing ability to play both. But I think the big key aspect for Bruno and PAQUETA is basically the Premier League experience there and the age profile. You know, they're not, I think KIMMICH is 28, 29, roughly. I'm not too sure on his age.
Yeah.
But then I think obviously Bruno and PAQUETA are kind of around 25, 26. Obviously, there's only like 3 or 4 years in that, but that 3 or 4 years that you can get out of them for the price that you're going to pay is a massive key aspect to that, I think, as well.
They're best mates as well, PAQUETA and Bruno Guimaraes. Yeah. I'm pretty sure there
was a lot. Yeah, they are, and I think there was a lot of talk many moons ago whilst he was at Lyon that Newcastle were inquiring as well for PAQUETA when Bruno joined.
He was pictured wearing Newcastle training gear once, PAQUETA.
He was in Newcastle as
Newcastle
well.
fans were like, "Oh, he's coming to Newcastle." He was wearing Bruno's training gear. They're just hanging out. But
they played together at Lyon, didn't they, for a long time?
Yeah.
Obviously, national team, both Brazilian. So yeah, I think that comes into it as well. Maybe, obviously, the kind of close aspect of being mates, really. But you know, then they can kind of both come in and hit the ground running, maybe, with that aspect as well.
Yeah, I could see both. I could see both happening for sure. Martin and I, we mentioned this, haven't we, Martin, a couple of weeks. So it's all right to say. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when we chatted, we did both as well. That there was legit interest in both. The Bruno G interest is absolutely legit. So that'll be
desperate.
Yeah. Bruno G is.
The PAQUETA thing is all down to the charges. We're literally. Because if he's not cleared, we will not budge. Which is
gone very quiet on them charges.
That's where Danny Olmo. City being clever this season, they're getting backups and deals in place, ready. If that makes sense.
Good. Learning from the mistakes, man. That's what you want to see, innit? Make a mistake.
Yeah, tight on Danny Olmo, though, innit? Agreed his deal, but if on the case that he doesn't sign, right,
Well, the game's the game, though, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Well, if PAQUETA beats the bookies, then yeah, Danny Olmo won't happen.
See, Paqueta's being clever though, isn't it? He's now coming out with all the right stuff to the West Ham fans. He's playing the game at the minute.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to do what Ivan Toney did. Remember, Ivan Toney was like, "Fuck Brentford on the boat." Like,
and yeah, I know others will mention he's bought an house, but I got told this. Dan Ashworth bought an house. Means now.
Yeah, I suppose.
Riyad Mahrez went to war with Sam Lee, saying he wasn't going anywhere, and it was only because he hadn't told his missus yet that he was going and upping.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Now, if we was to get them to be honest with you as well, Danny Olmo's a good player. I like Danny Olmo. Very, very versatile, top player. And I'm sure he could come into the City team and do very well. If we could get Bruno and we got Paqueta / Olmo, right? Because you're not going to get both of them. Say we get one of them. Is that enough, or do we need anything else? Because if Savio comes in, let's say Savio comes in and stays, Bernardo leaves. So you've got Doku, Grealish, Savio, and Oscar Bob, and obviously Paqueta probably could play on the wing as well. You still got your Alvarez and your Haalands, and then your midfielders. We don't know about outgoings, Kovacic, Nunes. The Kevin De Bruyne thing looks unlikely now to Saudi Arabia. I don't know if you guys seen the news that come out. That's pretty good. But then obviously you've got Bruno, Rodri, Kevin De Bruyne, Paqueta, and Phil Foden. Martin's smiling, but do we need anything else, or do you think that's?
I'm smiling on the Kevin De Bruyne stuff, but I'm going to let Tone say it.
The only thing I can think
I'll let Tone break that one.
Oh, sorry, you go.
I'll let you break the stuff.
I was just going to say, obviously, this.
If you want it, you might not want it.
Yeah,
sorry, you go, Luke, and then you go. You go.
I was obviously LB mentioned there. Any others? I think the only other thing I can think of is if the Saudi interest for Kyle Walker is concrete. What do we do there? Do we push Rico up into the ranks, or?
You know what I do, Luke? I'd be prepared not to sign no one, yeah. And you're like, what? And bring Yan Couto. And then your right backs, you got Akanji as your defender. Yeah, if you want an out-and-out defender playing at right back, Akanji's your man. You want an inverter, Rico Lewis is your man.
The only time I've watched
someone bombing down is Yan Couto.
He's looked very liable in defensive.
Yeah, but you got to pick the games though, innit, bro? That's what I'm saying. Like, I won't play Yan Couto against like Liverpool or Arsenal. I'd go with Akanji or Rico Lewis for those because I agree with you. But like at home against like Sheffield United, who just sit on the edge of the box for the game, like what do you really need Akanji playing right back? You might as well just send Yan Couto and just tell him to get it forward and bomb crosses in.
That's where the three in the back would come in because you'd solid up. So you would allow Yan to go because then you've got your three centre backs that would cover that up.
At least he can cross the ball better than Walker because fuck me, he just drills it in, doesn't he?
The thing with Yan Couto is whether he'll sign the contracts. He's been off the contracts, and at the minute he's not signing.
Yeah, so. Did you see the interview he did as well? Like, it didn't sound great, to be honest with you. I don't think he wants. I think he's getting a move somewhere. I think he's getting a permanent move. I think Real Madrid. Well, Real Madrid need a right back, but if I was Real Madrid, I'd be tapping up Trent Alexander-Arnold and saying, "Come join us on a free next year."
Yeah.
Imagine Trent and the one they got on the left. Davies. Imagine Davies and Trent.
They want Davies as well, don't they? They want Davies.
That'd be some fullback, wing back.
But I think they're waiting until next summer now, aren't they? Because they can get him on a free.
Yeah, that's what they do, Real Madrid, because they've got like a mad pull. Like, you got to respect the pull, man. Like, they'll just tell players like, yo, we don't pay for you. Like, you wait, and then you join us on a free next year. That's how it works, man. It's crazy, bro.
We don't pay for you.
We don't pay. You pay for us.
Yeah, respect Real's pull is crazy, man. The fact they can just tell players to do that and players are like just like want to do it. Like the biggest.
I think
they don't pay wages. The players pay wages to Real Madrid.
Yeah, I know.
Well, they kind of do. They kind of do in a way because Real Madrid, everybody they sign, they own their image rights, which is abnormal.
They pull a lot of image rights. That's what I was going to say.
They own Cristiano Ronaldo's image rights. They own Gareth Bale's image rights. They own all these players' image rights, which is not normal. But players are willing to do it for Real Madrid, which is
That's the thing. I think Kylian Mbappe is kind of to and fro at the minute, isn't he? He wants a higher image rights percentage.
Yeah.
As per his contract, that's why he's stalling.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah,
Craig,
I think we have. I think we have a bit of, but not Real Madrid, Paul, but we have it with Pep, and you'll see it with Bruno G. That Bruno G, yeah, if Pep wants him, yeah, he'll probably go. He'll probably join us. I suppose. Sorry, I was just reading that what you've just put up.
Mm. Yeah, interesting. I mean, 20 million quid. I mean, that's money in the bank, isn't it? So that is pretty decent. Right, go on then,
Yeah.
Tone. What's this news that you're breaking? You got some exclusive or something, or what? What's going on?
No,
Bro thinks it's Craig
Thanks,
party
mate.
time.
Drop the bomb,
What's going on
Tone. Drop
here?
the bomb, mate.
Do I need to make you full screen or what? What's
Full
going on
screen.
here,
Full
man?
screen.
Hey,
Get it
yo,
done.
what's
No.
happening here, lads? I mean,
Exclusiva.
what's going on? It's a BBC.
I'm shy.
Can I do that thing where she's like that and then goes?
Yeah.
Sorry, Tone. I'll put
Tick
you on the
tack,
spot.
tick tack, tick tack.
No, not at all. Not at all. I tweeted it earlier, just that KDB is going to stay with City and sign his extension. It's nothing. I think that's what you're referring to, Martin, unless there's something else and he doesn't want to go to Saudi or and wherever. And we've had the same thing. So, yeah, the funny thing is I think where we get it from, we can't say who it is, but we seem to get info very close together. But yeah, KDB staying is the talk. And yeah, I tweeted it out earlier, and I think possibly told me or someone said today or previously anyway. And if that LB, you said it on here earlier, I think. So yeah, I'm not claiming any exclusive. I don't need single screen and all that malarkey. But thank you.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you
Well, I
go.
mean, it's backed up as well from.
And Jacobs is taking the credit. That's
I
not.
know.
Yeah, bloody shithouse. That was Martin and I, that on here.
I know.
Oh,
man,
don't throw my name
block
in it.
this guy, man. Block him. There we go.
Yeah.
Nah,
Don't
so
give him
yeah.
full screen, LB. We'll have that.
No, I won't. How do I get this guy's name? But I can't. It says the feeling remains that Kevin De Bruyne will stay or extend at Manchester City. The player has not indicated he wants to move to Saudi Arabia. Man City do not have a number in mind to sell, but Saudi feel 100 mil with a significant bonus on top will be necessary. You know what's funny as well? Mr. Sky Cave, you know, the guy who said Van der Beek's worth 80 million quid. He said that apparently that the Saudis have had a change in strategy this summer and that they're not going to be splashing the cash like people think, which is interesting as well because, you know, people are saying, oh, Salah's staying at Liverpool. Salah wants to stay. There's apparently like it's not because necessarily he wants to stay, it's because the Saudis are not spending the big cash this year. They've been told by the people who like pay the money that you need to start developing younger kids and buying younger players, not 30-year-olds. So
They made a balls of it, man. They made a balls of a huge amount of it last summer.
Yeah.
Like, was it Al Nasser or someone got in trouble or got in financial trouble? And then there was another one. They signed a load of really expensive players on big wages. Then they decided they wanted different expensive players in the same window. So the original expensive players were stuck playing reserve football, even though they'd gone to like Jota from Celtic. Jota from Celtic went to Saudi for 200 grand a week, thinking he's going to be their main left winger. Don't they go and fucking sign Neymar?
Top bowling watching.
No, I don't think Neymar's there. I think he just got dropped.
Maybe it's a different one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Let me go to some of these super chats before we sort of like round up some stuff. Big up against Si for the donation before, bro. Big up to Tin says this reminded me of Sterling's last 2 years. Half of us saying he's become a waste, half of us praying he would do better. I think that's on about Jack Grealish. Yeah, for Jack Grealish. He is very split. I tweeted it out before, you know, and I was like, there's a lot of people who were quite happy for him to leave, Jack Grealish. I see a lot of City fans. And Nepal, 37% of people are open to selling him. So there's a lot of people who just like, yeah, get rid of him like that. And to be fair, if Oscar Bob does step up, then there is a legit potential that, you know, Oscar Bob can do what Grealish can do, maybe even more. But it's like one of you said before, it's early, isn't it? It's early on Oscar Bob. It's a bit too early to be putting that pressure on him. Big up to MCFC, obviously the official account, man. Says Bruno and Paqueta would be combined 185 million. Yeah. Do you think City would pay that much for two players? I hope they do.
Yeah.
Well, it's obviously spread out as well on the length of the contract. The thing is you got to look at.
Well, that depends because the release clauses. You can do a release clause like that, and some you have to pay up front.
Right. Okay. But in terms of the new rule, the new FFP rule that they voted yesterday, City are actually quite close to the limit for 8 million behind. Now, That is inflated a little bit because of all the treble bonuses, and we paid for Haaland's agent fees, which was obviously quite a lot, which everyone knows. But it'll be interesting to see exactly how much headroom we actually have on that, because obviously we've now been screwed. We was one of the best placed clubs for profit and sustainability with the squad cost ratio. We were the third lowest according to Blue City Brain on Twitter. Now we're the second worst with this squad cap. So
Well,
it's a little
soft, it's a soft start next season, and it's not officially.
it's not next season, yeah, it's 2025, 2026.
What I did ask earlier, and I got told City may go bigger this summer, knowing what's coming in. If it comes in, it's not officially in yet, but the likelihood is it will. But with this stupid rule, by the way, thank you, Premier League. But the City will go bigger this summer, ready for the summer after. Because we can sell the the EDS lads, can't we? And we'll have to
but I don't know how that works. So in terms of the actual spend, because that's the thing when it comes to the cap. I don't think it's got anything to do with how much you sell your players for, because it's about how much you're spending. It's not to do with necessarily your profit. It's to do with you're not allowed to spend this much money. That's why Jim Ratcliffe's apparently fuming, because they've got all this.
If that's the case, football's dead then.
Yeah, but they've still got the squad cost ratio, so there's going to be effectively like two sets of rules. You've still got the squad.
How does that get around UEFA? Because what that's going to say is UEFA will turn around and go, well, that's the end of English clubs winning anything in Europe.
Well, this is funny because I checked before. Real Madrid will be able to spend £100 million a year extra than City and United. So it's weird, man. So that's obviously
handcuffing to Europe.
And what they're not realizing as well, this only get difficult. You look at what Real Madrid are doing. They are building a Galactico team. A Galactico team. They've already got a Galactico team, and it's going to get even worse. Yeah, if they sign Davis, if they sign Trent, if they sign Mbappe, teams are going to have to spend money to compete with these. Otherwise, Real Madrid is going to win everything.
Well, why are the Premier League trying to put a halt to being the best league or the most attractive league? It baffles me why they're trying to stop people investing in players and all the rest of it.
Well, it's clubs though, isn't it? It's voted by the club. So obviously, if you're Wolves, you're going to vote for it because you're going to be like, well, if we can stop City and United and all these guys spending more money, that means we can get closer to them.
But it doesn't help them in an aspect as well, because 9 times out of 10, the teams that want to buy their players for the top amounts.
Well,
they're going to be in big trouble for it. It's the only.
Newcastle voted for it.
Newcastle voted for it. They did, yeah. They voted.
So Newcastle voted for it to go into Europe, and then when they get in Europe, they're going to get handcuffed.
Yeah.
Well, they're already going to be handcuffed.
Again. So I mean, no one knows what they're actually looking in. They just. This is mad.
I think Pep Guardiola said, bro,
there are no friends or enemies, only interests, bro. And he was spot on when he said that in the press conference, bro. That's just facts. No
Newcastle are voting for it for a short-term game, but long-term to kill themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't. Obviously, they know why they voted. They've obviously voted for it because they believe it's the right thing for them, right? But like, I'm looking at it thinking, like, you had the opportunity to spend, like, just up to whatever. Maybe they were worried that United and City were just going to blow them out of the water because their revenues are already high. Because Newcastle have to grow their revenues because of this squad. It's just weird, man. It's proper strange. But
it's the only like business where you can't actually invest your own money. It's mad. Yeah. Like if you own the business outside of football, you can put as much money into it as you want to then develop your business and grow your business. Whereas this is a sport where it's just capped, which I understand, fair play, but you know, there should be kind of reasonable parameters around it.
You know what's funny though, there, Luke? Yeah, you said it. You understand it for fair play. It's ironic that now, like, does it make the Premier League fairer? Arguably, it does. Yeah, but it only makes it fairer because the stupid rules were there in the first place. But now it makes the Champions League less fair. We are now at a disadvantage financially. We cannot compete as much with Real Madrid. We're at least £100 million down on Real Madrid what they can spend each year. So we are. They might have made the Premier League fairer, which they only did because they fucked up in the first place. They've actually made the Champions League for us even worse. So I don't know what they do, bro. The whole rules is just a farce.
It'll change anyway.
Yeah, it'll change again. Oh, 100%. So, because what'll happen? Yeah, they don't think about the unintended consequences. So this starts in 25-26. So at the end of 2026 season or 2027, when someone realizes that something's not right, everyone will start moaning. People will go, "What about Man City? What about Man City?" And City will be fine because like they won't breach the rules that year because obviously we won't get into ourselves into that state again. And then people will blame City, and then they'll change the rules again. City will be just like we were in the squad cost ratio. We'll be one of the best placed teams in the league, and then they'll change it again to make us one of the worst, which is exactly what they've done with this. I say it again. City were third bottom on the Premier League in the squad cost ratio. 68% it was, according to Blue City Brain. Yeah. Now, adding in the cap with the second worst. We've gone from the third best to the second worst overnight with this anchor rule. Big up Sanjeev says, LB, what do you think about Musiala this summer or next? I like Musiala. Yeah, it's funny enough, actually. We're speaking, we've not actually mentioned this, right? But he actually plays on the left a lot for Bayern Munich. And it's interesting that we're being linked with Musiala, and now Grealish is being linked with a move away. Like that's kind of
Bayern make him his poster boy, though. Bayern make him their poster boy, and there's no way we'll get him out of that club.
Yeah,
he's already left England.
Is he Rangnick or whatever he's bloody called? Is he going to Bayern this summer? Is that confirmed? Rangnick.
I think it's been talks,
it looks like it.
That's clearly a short-term solution. They're just going to go for Alonso anyway next summer. But I always think it's on who they appoint, and if it's him, he may well kick off. And it's all going to come down to the player on that one this summer. If he turns around and says, "I'm absolutely not staying," no way. Bayern will probably cash in.
But he's still got nearly 3 years. So it's not like...
I thought he had 1 year.
No, he's contracted until 2026 with a kick year.
Oh, sorry.
So they've no rush. I think it must see how it happens next, especially with KDB signing up. I think it'll be. I think it's more for next year if Musiala comes.
Sorry, right. I thought he had 1 year.
You're being confused with Kimmich, Tone.
Yeah.
Kimmich has 1
2 years with a kick year in. So if they both, like Rashford does. Is it Rashford who had it at United where they had where they could add the extra year into the contract?
United do it
as well.
United do it. It's like standard procedure in everyone's contract. So they get roasted. Yeah. Right, cool. Big up everyone in the chat. Hope you enjoyed the show. I'm going to go on the second channel, More LB now, and do a watch along. In fact, I call it a cry along of Real Madrid at Bayern Munich, man. I'm going to be teary. I'm going to be teary, man. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be sad times. Luke, as always, mate, big up for coming on. Appreciate it, bro.
Thank you very much.
Martin, obviously, you guys know you can find Martin Mancunian Way. You got any shows tonight? Or
no, we're back.
No.
Might do something tomorrow late night.
Okay, cool. There you go. Big up Hugh. You guys can find him at HMTV. Obviously, Big Six as well. You got out tonight?
Big Six Pro Clubs tonight at half
Big
10.
Six Pro Clubs. There you go. Okay.
And
Tone, big up. Yeah, I seen that. And big up to Tone as always for coming on. Thank you for coming on, mate, and giving us your thoughts on stuff. Okay, guys, make sure you drop a like on the way out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Big up to everyone that sent in a donation or subscribed, smash a like, left the comments in. Over we go. More LB. Kickoffs in 3 minutes' time. Bayern Munich take on Real Madrid. I'll see you over there. See you in a second.